Okay, so hands up who thinks I've got a British accent. Hands up who thinks I don't. There's an in-between. Yeah, okay.
He's just been in America for too long.
Yeah, I've been in America for 2 days, and now...
Way too long.
Okay, so... pip pip. Let's talk about volunteers. So, volunteers are the people who are going to be on the ground at your event helping you out, okay? So, maybe they've done a little bit of work before with you on your organizing team, but primarily they're going to be turning up on the day, helping you out. So in case you forgot, hi, I'm Tim. I'm from Major League Hacking. I'm the EU Commissioner. And let's talk about what you want to do with your events, we want to do with your volunteers before the event. So recruiting volunteers is a lot like recruiting your team, okay? But there are a few things that you want to keep in mind. For example, hackathon organizers, like these guys from Hackon last year, make fantastic volunteers, okay? Because they have been in your shoes, they know what it's like to organize an event, and they know what to do in order to make your life easy. And they're going to work their asses off to make sure you're not being stressed because they know what it's like, okay? So definitely go speak to other hackathon organizers and see if they want to go and volunteer at your event. Again, you want to get freshmen involved because these are the people who are going to be working on your event next year, kind of thing. So you want to get them involved and say, hey, if you like volunteering, maybe you consider organizing and taking a larger role next time around. So yeah, again, what kind of people you want? Very similar to the team. You want to have diverse majors, diverse backgrounds. Generally, upbeat and social people help a lot because they're going to be interacting with a lot of people and you want to put on a good face. Or people who you can motivate to be upbeat and social. And again, people who get shit done is really, really important. If they've got a past history of being able to solve problems on the fly, that's really, really useful because when you're organizing an event, you don't want volunteers coming to you every second saying, oh, is it okay if I put the table here? Is it okay if I put the table there? It's like, no, just take ownership, fix problems by yourself. You want to be upfront about time commitment, and this is really important with volunteers. It's important with the organizer, but also very important with volunteers. That they are going to have to be there for the entire weekend or the entire event, right? People who say, yeah, I can help out a little bit. Maybe I can come for between 12 and 12:30 on the Saturday and 11 and 11:15 on the Sunday and I can help out, right? No, you can't, okay? Because you're not going to be helpful in any capacity if that's what you're doing. So either you're all in or you're out, right? Before the event, it's really, really important to keep volunteers engaged, okay? One of the things that happens a lot, which can really suck, is you've recruited a ton of volunteers. They've all said, yeah, I'm going to help out. It's going to be fantastic. And then it comes to the day and 2 people show up. You're like, where did all my volunteers go? Well, you have to keep them engaged throughout the process and make sure that they are motivated to turn up to your event and help you out, and they feel invested in making sure the event is a success. So ways to keep people engaged is have an all hands with all of the volunteers. Make sure they know what's happening. Get them together for pizza or something and meet everybody to make sure that they feel like part of a team. Definitely keeping the volunteers updated on how the organizing is going is going to make them feel a bit more invested. And have them in your Slack, have them in your emails so that they can see what's happening. And this is really great because it allows them to choose their involvement. If they feel like, oh, wow, I could help out with that now because I've got some free time, and they want to take a bit more responsibility, they can do that if they know what's going on and if you tell them what's going on. And that can be really, really useful. So you can get them to do small jobs. So preparation is going to make your life 10 times easier during the event. If you prepare well, then it can be like what John said, and you can sit back and just let somebody else do it. It's going to be absolutely fine. That's the plan, at least. It never really works out like that. But so ways you prepare is, first of all, you need to assign roles. We need to know what volunteers are doing registration, which volunteers are organizing the AV, which ones are setting up the furniture, which ones are setting up the food, which ones are lifting the boxes from here to there. You need to make sure that everybody knows what they're actually doing, so they don't just stand around during the hackathon going, I don't know what I'm meant to be doing here. And like the stepper from that is making a timeline. So at every second during the event, people can look at the timeline and see, okay, this is what I'm meant to be doing at this particular time. So it shows you exactly what time, who's involved, what they're meant to be doing, and some notes on the thing, right? This is the timeline from Hackcon. The Hackcon timeline is like really, really long. It breaks down exactly what everybody needs to be doing. Just to give you an idea of things that you want to put on your timeline is meals, what's happening during talks, who's organizing the AV and when, like who's tweeting about what things at what time. So this can get really, really detailed. For example, you'll see here at 11:15 p.m., Swift walked to the hotel, right? So it's literally telling you, where do you need to go? Where do you need to be? What are you doing at every single second? And that can be really useful to make sure that things are kept on time and that people know what they're doing. Another part of this is having a sleep schedule, okay? Because all the volunteers are going to come, they're going to be really excited by the event, it's going to be fantastic, and they're going to stay up until 4 a.m. in the morning, and then they're going to crash. And nobody will be there to help you because they'll all be sleeping. Or they'll just be zombies kind of thing. So you want to make sure that you have a sleep schedule which allows for people to be on shift at all times. And you need to enforce that schedule because people are going to be excited, they're going to want to stay up and do the fun things, and the fact of the matter is if you're volunteering, you're going to be missing out on some things because you need to sleep, okay? And finally, get some swag for people, right? You need to make your volunteers be easily visible. So it might mean getting really brightly colored hats and t-shirts for everybody so that people know, hey, I can go talk to this person for help. But if you don't have the budget to do that, don't worry. There are other ways that you can make people look visible without spending a ton of money. So, for example, at Hackathon I organized in Nottingham, home of Robin Hood, we bought Robin Hood hats for all the volunteers, which made people really easily identifiable, but it only cost like $5 each on Amazon. So it was a really easy way. And it added a little bit of character to the event. Before the event, you do have to make sure everybody knows what the plan is. Because if you have all this timeline, you've put in a huge amount of work to get the sleep schedule sorted, and then they turn up on the day and nobody knows any of this stuff, then it's useless. So you need to have an all-hands meeting to go over what the timeline is, what the plan is, what everybody should be doing, and letting people ask questions about that. And one part of that is putting all of these documents in the shared folder that you should have so that everybody can see what it is. It's also very important to make sure you train your volunteers to do specialized tasks. So make sure everybody who's doing registration knows how registration works and they know how to deal with certain situations. What happens if somebody turns up and they don't have a ticket? Do you issue them one or do you say, no, you can't, come in, sorry. You have to make sure people know how to be a good mentor, make sure people know how they're meant to be setting up chairs and tables if they're meant to set it up in a certain way. It can really suck if somebody puts a ton of time into setting up tables in one way and then you walk in and say, no, that's not the way it's meant to be, because then you have to do it yourself and they're annoyed that they did it wrong. So that's all the planning. Now during the event, the first thing you want to do, like an hour, maybe 2 hours before the event actually starts, is have a briefing with the volunteers and with the rest of your organizing team. Okay? Go through the timeline, make sure everybody knows what their roles are, make sure everybody knows what they should be doing, and answering your questions. One really useful thing is print out all of the timeline and the sleep schedule and anything else that might be useful for people so they actually have a physical copy. Because if internet goes down, people still need to be able to access the timeline so they know what's meant to be happening. Okay? Other things you can put in there are things like contact details, what happens if there's a medical emergency, A map of the venue might be really useful as well. All of those kinds of things. And then make sure that people follow the schedule. Like, go to them and say, like, hey, are you meant to be going to sleep now? And they're like, no, it's fine. I'll be awake for another 4 hours. I'm not tired. It's like, no, you need to go to sleep. Seriously, we need to make sure you're healthy in the morning. And ask if they have any problems. Make sure that everybody's feeling okay. And make sure to thank them at the end, because they've done a fantastic job working for you and making the event happen. So do something nice for them at the end. Then it doesn't stop there. You have to follow up with them after the event. So afterwards, you want to thank them for all of their hard work. Have a debrief about how the event went. I know after the event, all you want to do is crawl into bed and just not have to do anything for a week. But you do have to debrief your sponsors. You do have to debrief your team. And send out a debrief email so that you have kind of a record of everything. And stay in touch. Tell them, hey, this is how planning is going for the next event. This is what we have in our timeline for next time around. And kind of warm them up to maybe take on a bigger role next time, because people who volunteer are very often the people who kind of take over from organizing the next event, because they get a taste of it and they're like, oh, this is actually really awesome. I really want to do it next time. So make sure you make it very easy for them to step up their commitments. So that's volunteering. That's me. Have any questions about volunteers? Yeah?
So for us, one additional incentive we offer to get people to volunteer is community service hours. So for instance, for my fraternity, you're required to do a certain number of hours per term. It's a great way to get your hours, helping out with the hackathon. And a lot of people, when you offer something back to them, it shows your appreciation as well.
Yeah, totally. That's a fantastic idea. And I've seen that happen at a few hackathons. Yeah.
This might be a silly question, but does anyone have any examples of so I guess I've just seen of people putting together volunteer kits, right? So the second they're there, here's all the information, and you this went through that. Are there any examples out there? And if so, where are they?
I think Bitcam has really good stuff. Yeah, so if you look at their website, they still have a lot of archive things that they did, so you can look through that. And actually, when I was a volunteer there and a mentor for this last one, and they just if you were pre-registered as a mentor, you just had they had a little bandana for you to distinguish as the hats that they showed these people, and some instructions they sent to your email as a special mailing list.
Okay, cool. So Bitcamp has some stuff as well. I know Student Hack in the UK has one, and I think really what we might do is gather some and put it up on the organizer guide, so that guide.mlh.io. I don't think there's any on there now. Is there, Nick? Any volunteer briefing packages? Yeah. So we're going to add some of those in the future, and hopefully people might be able to get some ideas from that. Okay, I think that's it.